StoryCorps CT features interviews gathered by the StoryCorps Mobile Tour in Connecticut. Gerard Lupacino sat down to record a conversation with his husband, Lynn Bolio, 4 decades into their relationship.
When we first got together, there were many sort of facets of people that were looking askant, like how long is that going to last? So our friends were kind of weird about it. Some of our friends were kind of weird about it. And then, of course, there's my family that wanted to ignore it for a good period of time.
Right.
My brother was nervous about it, and my sister, she was wonderful. She was, oh, whatever's good for you kind of thing. And, and my dad was perfectly fine with it, although my mother said, please don't ever tell your father kind of thing. And he was fine with it as it turned out. I mean,
you're making me think about, how did you come out to your parents? I mean, you did eventually actually come out to your mom. You never did come out to your dad.
Well, I did come out to my dad. I said, you know that I'm gay. And he said,
oh, you did?
Yeah, because he became really good friends with you.
Right.
The gin and tonics on Sunday afternoons, burning chicken on the grill.
Oh, yeah, you can make friends with anybody for drinking.
He was fine. I think, like when I went to college, Dad said to me, listen, you're the last one of the kids. My only advice is that you don't get arrested. You don't make anybody pregnant. And if you're going to smoke, don't smoke menthols.
Right.
His reaction to me being gay was sort of the same thing, like, okay, just don't get killed and don't be mean to people. He knew that I was an industrious kind of good person kind of thing.
Sure. Well, he would have to have known that.
Of course.
Yeah. Telling my mom, of course, that my dad had already passed away. So this was all through the whole AIDS crisis. It was in the 80s.
Oh, really? And she didn't know before then?
No. I mean, obviously she must have suspected, God knows.
Oh.
It was all the business around how people were being mistreated by parents who had contracted AIDS, and her feeling that a parent would turn their back on their own children because of something like this was absolutely crazy. And I think to a certain extent she was telling me this in order to make me feel comfortable about the idea that she was understanding.
Yeah.
And then of course, when I actually told her that Sunday morning that I told her, she, getting up and going in and bringing out a bottle and saying, I'm having a drink. Do you want one? And I said, it's Sunday morning at 9:00. And she said, yeah, okay.
It started for you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I remember going home to my apartment building, the crappy little apartment building I lived in. And nice. I walked in the front door and I just stood in the hall and I just screamed, I just told my mother, and then went upstairs to my room. Yeah.
Well, you did that because you wanted everybody to know, or
I wanted everybody to know.
Okay.
Plus, I was excited. It's that hurdle to to get over that, and you know what that's like.
So you're turning 70 tomorrow.
I am turning 70, and I can't believe it.
I know.
How did I get here?
You were 28 years old, I think, when we started seeing each other.
Yes.
And now it's 42 years later. And last year I turned 60. This is a moment in time for us. We're on the other side of a pandemic that so far we've survived. Thank goodness. You're having a momentous birthday, and I just wanted to make sure that this was captured. So anyways, happy anniversary. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I hope it's wonderful tomorrow night and that we have another 40 years together.
It will. It will be wonderful.
I love you.
I love you too.
Gerard Lupacino and Lynn Bolio. Produced locally by Connecticut Public Radio. See and hear more stories at ctpublic.org/StoryCorps-CT.
The StoryCorps Mobile Tour is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. StoryCorps CT is supported locally by Connecticut Humanities with funding from Connecticut's Department of Economic and Community Development, the Office of the Arts, and the state legislature.